Hey guys, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm going to share with you the 6th update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows project pan, and I am so excited to do so because I have been having so much fun with this project pan. I'm so happy that I decided to focus on this for 2019, and I was heavily inspired by my friend Alexi. Watching her in both 2017 and 2018 doing this project was really inspiring for me, and I'm so happy that I decided to do it because I've been feeling like I'm not as tempted to buy new eyeshadows, but also because I really do enjoy seeing more pan in my collection, and it's just been a really gratifying project pan, really challenging creatively, but a lot of fun. So yeah, let's just hop right into the update. This first palette I have actually had in this project pan for 7 months. I've had this in this project since the very beginning. I introduced this back in December, and I'm so excited to share with you guys that I did hit pan on my eyeshadow in the Zulu by Juvia's Place. So the focus shadow that I was working on is the yellow, and as you can see, there's a little glimmer of pan in there. The moment I hit pan on this, honestly, I was like, I'm done with this palette for a while. I need to kind of set it aside. I did only hit pan on it last week, but I'm so beyond happy that I finally did so. These are massive pans, so of course it's gonna take quite some time. And I was wearing yellow like all the time. It almost started to feel like a bit of an obligation. So I'm happy that I finally did hit pan on this and I'm able to set this aside. Over this past month, as you guys may or may not know, I was on vacation for 2 weeks. So really only for 2 weeks I was focusing on all of these eyeshadows because I didn't travel with any of my eyeshadows except for one liquid shadow. But either way, as soon as I came back, I really was doing like one and done kind of eye looks with this. I was wearing this all over the lid with a bunch of mascara, and that was it. Really trying to hit pan on it. A couple times I wore it as an inner corner sort of accent shade. I really liked that. I did it with a winged liner, but I think I didn't take a picture of that. I really liked it actually, the inner corner yellow and then a bare lid with a black wing. I thought that was super cool, but like I said, I don't think I took a picture. But I had a lot of fun with this yellow over the course of this year. You guys know I was wearing so much yellow, and I'm so happy to say I'm done with this shadow. Of course, I really do love this palette, and I'm excited I will reach for it maybe in a couple more months, but for now I think I need to take a little bit of a break from this. Yeah, it's just been a long time focusing on that one palette, and it's all colorful, so I'm hoping I don't roll one of those in for this project this year because I will be then just stuck to that palette for the entirety of the year, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe I will end up rolling in one of those shadows. Okay, the next palette anyways is the Urban Decay Electric palette. I actually have 2 shadows in this that I was working on. So the first one here is a Slow Burn. It's that orangey red shade. Sorry, I don't want to blind you with the mirror. It's that orangey red shade, and as you can see, I've made a little bit of progress. Honestly, it's not that significant because I wore this one time this month. That's so bad, but yesterday I put it on and it just wasn't blending out very nicely. I wasn't really liking the look of the color either, so I ended up just taking it off and kind of restarting my makeup, which I don't do very often at all. And I have decided I really do want to just roll this shadow out of this project. I haven't done that yet with any eyeshadow except for palettes one palette that I decluttered, but I've had this in here since March. I haven't made significant progress on it at all, and I was using initially a red shade from a Colourpop, the Dream Street palette. That red shade called Spark I was working on as well, and I'm just feeling like I'm a little bit worn out with these kinds of orange-red matte shades, so I'm going to be replacing this with something else for this project pan. I will be leaving that in the spreadsheet though. It's totally eligible to be rolled into this project again in the future. I just think I do need a little bit of a break from it, and I would love to focus my energies on an eyeshadow that I really am going to be able to make progress on. So instead of just leaving it in here and then maybe not touching it for another month, I'd rather just kind of surrender at this point. And then the other shadow is the one that I'm covering up here. This is called Thrash. No pan on it quite yet, but there is a decent sized dip. I don't know if you'll be able to tell in a close-up, but there's a little bit of a dip happening in there, and I've been loving this shadow. It's a beautiful like electric lime green kind of tone. It's so stunning. It's like nuclear. It's like acid green, and I love it. I'm so into this kind of tone at the moment. I love these kinds of grungy shadows like this, and I've been reaching for it a ton. I love it paired with golds, browns, greens, and it's just been a lot of fun. Of course, like I said, I didn't use it very much this past month. I didn't use many of these except for the yellow mostly, because I really was like, I need to hit pan on that. But I love this shadow. I cannot wait to keep playing with it. It's just an absolute favorite of mine, and I'm happy I'm reaching for this palette as a whole, but like I said, slow burn is just not inspiring me at all. But I am going to continue to work on Thrash, and I'm really excited to do so. So here is a swatch of Thrash. It's just a neon kind of acid green shade. I love it so, so much. And then the next palette that I'm working on is this Revolution eyeshadow palette. This is the New-Trals versus New-Trals palette. And the eyeshadow that I selected from here doesn't have a name, but it's the 15th shade in the palette, which makes it this shade right here. It's a like deep taupe with a slight like purple undertone. I have been really just gravitating towards this as more of a deepening shade for when I'm wearing cooler toned eyeshadows. You can see there is a decent sized dip starting to happen in there, but no signs of pan quite yet. And like I said, just because I've been using it more so to just deepen my outer corner or on my lower lash line, I'm not making a massive amount of progress. I honestly could have integrated it into my eye look today. I'm kind of upset that I just totally didn't think about doing it, but I've been loving wearing this primarily with Colourpop Couche, the Super Shock shadow that I'm working on in my Graveyard Project pan, and other like cool toned shadows like that. I think I should be able to hit pan on this relatively soon. Maybe not next month, but I think within the next couple months for sure I should have pan on that shadow. And here is a swatch of the Revolution shadow. As you can see, it has a slight sheen to it and a little bit of like a purpley taupe undertone, but otherwise it's just a nice cool deep brown. These next two shadows I rolled in last update actually, so I haven't had a lot of time to work on either of these, but this first one is a Colourpop single shadow. This is the Big 3, and it's a white with like a slightly blue shift to it. It's a really cool color, and it actually was part of their 3rd birthday collection. And as you can see, it kind of translates almost more silvery on my skin. That's like a blue silver kind of shade, and you can definitely sheer it out so it's not this high shine, but I've been using it from time to time. It really isn't something that I've gravitated hugely towards over the last couple weeks. However, I have made a little bit of progress. Nothing too significant, like definitely not a dip in there quite yet, but I have been really enjoying pairing this every once in a while with my eye looks. So primarily I have layered it over the inner corner, whether it's on top of just a like gold or champagne highlight, or I did pair this on top of the yellow from Juvia's Place when I wore it on my inner corner in my Roulette Pan collab update. Actually, I had this just like right on top of the yellow to give it more of like a green yellow sort of shift, and it was really cool. I really did enjoy that. So yeah, this is gonna take me quite some time, but it's gonna be a fun shade to integrate, especially because I'm very weary of blues, but I think that this kind of blue tone is something that I can really get down with because it kind of pulls more like a silver or a baby blue as opposed to like a cobalt blue. Those are the kinds of shades that really intimidate me. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue to work on this. Nothing really to report quite yet, but that's okay. We got time to make progress on it for sure. And then lastly, I have a second shadow actually from my Galaxy palette by Fenty Beauty. So I had this in this project pan earlier on in this year, and then I ended up rolling it in again for this project pan last month. And the shade that I selected from this time around is called Planet X. It's a like chocolatey brown kind of shade with a ton of shimmer. It's got a bit of gold and a bit of silver, and it is the shade that I'm wearing on the majority of my lid today. Of course, I do have something else in the crease, but I just packed this on with my finger for a bit more of a sheer application than I have done. I do have a picture where I really intensified it, like I wet my brush and I made it like high shine, a really smoky kind of shadow, and it's absolutely beautiful. But these are the only 2 times that I've reached for it actually. So like I said, I was just really dead set focused on hitting pan in that yellow shade. So I am really excited to play with this. I think this is going to transition really well into the fall, especially here at the end of summer, or not at the end, but going in towards the end of summer and into the fall. It should not be an issue for me to hit pan on it. And you can see really no visible wear at all. The pans are not so deep, but I know I have a lot to go in order to hit pan on this shadow. So here is a swatch of the Fenty shadow. Like I said, it's just like a nice chocolatey brown with a ton of shimmer. It's just such a pretty neutral shade to have in the mix. So now we're at my favorite part of this project pan, which is randomizing new shadows to pull into this project. So I have all of my eligible eyeshadows in a spreadsheet, which means all of the eyeshadows that don't have pan on them. I have 258 eyeshadows in my collection that do not have pan on them. So those are all in a Google spreadsheet allocated to a number, and I'm gonna generate 2 new numbers to pull into this project based on the spreadsheet. So I hope that makes sense. I feel like I can't talk right now. So we are gonna pull the first shadow, and I have variables 1 to 258 in there. The first shadow is gonna be shade number 238. So the eyeshadow that is in the spot number 238 comes from my newest eyeshadow palette, hence why it's right down at the very end of the spreadsheet, and that is the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. This is a beautiful palette. I'm so happy to have added this to my collection, and I haven't played with it quite enough, so this is a good opportunity to play with it. Now the shadow that I selected is actually the very first shade right here, which is called Breakaway. This is just a nice nude kind of shade. It's a nice flesh tone shade for my complexion, but it actually isn't a matte, so it's not the kind of shadow that I would oftentimes reach for to set my primer. So it actually does have a slight bit of sheen, and as you can see, I've only really just used it maybe 2 or 3 times, so definitely a lot of work has to go into being able to hit pan on this, but I don't think that is going to be a hard challenge whatsoever. It looks like a beautiful shadow. It looks like something I can reach for often, and this palette as a whole is something that I can reach for really often to play with the rest of the shades in this project too. So right down here at the bottom, we have the shade Breakaway. Like I said, it's just a good nude kind of tone with a slight bit of a satin finish, and yeah, it looks beautiful. Looks like it's gonna be really great to have in combination with everything else in this project pan. So now we're gonna just draw the last shadow, which is going to be number 233. And the last shadow I'm gonna be focusing on came from near the end of my spreadsheet as well, and that is actually corresponding to the Colourpop Pretty Much palette. I told you guys in my last update that this ended up just being completely forgotten and lost in my collection, and I ended up adding it to the spreadsheet only last update. So again, a newer palette to me that we're gonna be working on for the next few months. And the shadow that I selected from this palette right here is this shade, which is called OTP. It's a beautiful, like, shimmering pink. It kind of leans a little bit lavender, I feel like. And I haven't played with this palette whatsoever. As you can see, I've only swatched like 2 of the shadows. So I'm really excited actually to be able to play around with this little palette and integrate it into some looks. Now this color story does not go with the other shadows whatsoever, but it just gives me some more variety to play with. So this right here at the bottom, this shimmering pink, is the shade OTP. And as you can see, like I said, it does lean a little bit lavender. It's really beautiful. And I'm really excited to play around with this color story. This is the most unique color story that I've had so far for this project. I feel like we're starting to move away from all of the warm matte neutrals, or not even neutrals, but warm mattes, and we're moving more into shimmers, a little bit of cool tones. I'm digging this quite a lot, so I'm really excited. Actually, I'm feeling very reinvigorated for this project pan as well, because I'm not working with that stark yellow, that stark red, and we're moving into softer tones. That's kind of the vibe I've been feeling lately too, so I'm really excited for this. I cannot wait to play with all of these eyeshadows, and in a month I will share with you guys if I've hit pan on anything. If you're working on this project or any projects comparable to this one, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to watch them for a little bit of inspiration, but otherwise that's absolutely everything for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching and for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!